The clinic was quiet that morning. Pale lights, plastic chairs, a soft buzz in the vents. She sat beside her brother, knees tight, eyes wide, not blinking. He scrolled on his phone, looked normal, didn't notice how tightly she gripped his arm, or how she kept mouthing something too quietly to hear. Nurse called their name. She didn't move, just stared at the floor tiles, one cracked like a lightning bolt. He stood and pulled her gently. She followed, too slow. They entered the exam room. White walls, thin paper on the table. She sat without being told. Looked at the ultrasound machine, smiled at it, then frowned. Doctor walked in, middle-aged, calm voice. Introduced himself. She said nothing, just tilted her head toward her brother. He looked confused, laughed awkwardly. Stomach pain, the brother said. She hasn't been eating. Doctor nodded, asked a few questions. She finally whispered, "It's not pain, it's pressure." Pressure. The doctor frowned. "Show me where." She touched her side, but not like it hurt, more like it pulsed. Like something inside had moved. Ultrasound gel felt cold. She winced but didn't flinch, kept staring at her brother the whole time, like she was waiting for him to stop her. The screen flickered. Doctor's eyes narrowed. He moved the wand. Looked again. Said nothing for too long. Then muttered, "That's not right." She leaned in, still staring at her brother. Whispered, "I told you it was growing." The doctor adjusted the wand, slowly, carefully. His eyebrows furrowed deeper with every pass. She stared at the monitor. Her brother stared at her. "Is that normal?" the brother asked. The doctor didn't answer, just pressed harder. The image twitched, not the machine. The shape inside moved. "It's not supposed to move," the doctor whispered. "There's no heartbeat, but it's moving." The girl smiled again, not happy, more like proud. She whispered, "It's learning." The machine clicked, froze. The doctor tapped the screen. Then the lights flickered. Twice. Then again. The girl's skin went pale. Her lips moved, but no sound came, just mouthing syllables. She reached toward her brother's hand. Her fingers were freezing. "Don't leave me. It doesn't like that." The doctor turned off the machine, turned it back on. The image didn't return, just static. Then a shadow across the screen. Her stomach shifted slightly. Not bloated, not swollen, just displaced. Something pressing up from within. The girl said quietly, "It listens through light." The doctor left the room, said he'd be right back. Didn't say where he was going. Left the door slightly open. The hallway flickered. The brother finally turned to her. "Hey, what's going on? What are you not telling me?" She looked at him, really looked. Her eyes didn't blink, pupils wide. "I didn't want to bring it, but it follows when I get scared." He tried to laugh it off. "Okay, creepy. Stop." Seriously, the light overhead buzzed. Louder now, a high-pitched whine beneath it. She covered her ears. "It doesn't like your voice." He stood to call the nurse, but his phone screen went black. Not dead. Just off. Then it blinked. Once. And showed an image. Not his wallpaper. The image looked like an ultrasound, but darker. Glitched. He dropped the phone. She stood too. Slowly. Stepped toward the window. "It remembers this place," she whispered. The monitor clicked again. Came back on. The screen was blank, except for a pulsing shape. Too sharp. Too aware. "It found us again," she said. The doctor didn't come back. A nurse entered. Young. Cheerful. Until she saw the girl. Her smile dropped. "I've seen you before," she whispered. The girl nodded. "Not me. Something inside me." The nurse backed away. "You're not supposed to be here." The brother stood between them. "She's just sick, okay? We came for help." The nurse turned to him, her eyes watering. "That room wasn't supposed to be open. The ultrasound room. It was closed. Since the last time." She pointed at the screen. Same shape, same static, same lights. The lights flickered again. The hallway behind her went black. Then, footsteps. Wet. Slow. The girl gripped her brother's hand. "It doesn't like memories, but it collects them." Something slid down the hallway, a shadow across the floor, thin, long. The nurse ran, didn't scream. The hallway light popped, and the shadow turned the corner. The doctor finally returned, out of breath, holding a folder. Not digital. Paper. Yellowed edges. Locked with a metal clasp. "I need you both to listen carefully," he said. "This isn't the first time." The brother frowned. "What do you mean?" The doctor opened the folder. Inside, ultrasound images. Faded. All of them showed similar shapes. Too identical. Too recent. All from girls around her age. Same symptoms. Same timing. Different towns. The brother stepped back. This isn't real." The doctor placed a photo on the counter. A girl who looked just like her. Only it was dated 1996. The girl stepped forward, touched the photo. She tried to leave it, but it stayed. The doctor whispered, "What are you carrying?" She looked up. "Not me. Us." The door clicked shut. No one touched it. The knob twisted once. Then the lock engaged. Lights dimmed. The monitor pulsed like a heart. The doctor moved toward it, tried the knob. No use. It wasn't locked before. The girl sat back down, cross-legged on the table, hands in her lap, staring forward like someone was still talking to her. The brother stepped beside her. "Are you okay?" She nodded. "It wants to talk. It's never had a voice before." The screen blinked. Static again. Then, words, letters forming in the haze. One at a time. "Stay." The doctor backed away. "This thing, it's intelligent." The girl smiled. "It's not a thing. It's a part of me. Of him, too." The brother shook his head. "Me?" She looked at him softly. "It was always with you first." The brother sat down, suddenly dizzy. A sharp ache at the base of his skull. Images flashed behind his eyes. Not memories? but too vivid. He saw a field, a red barn, a girl standing in the window. Not his sister, but she had his eyes. He smelled rain, heard whispers in the dirt, hands touching the glass from the wrong side. The doctor grabbed his shoulder. "You okay?" He looked up. "I think I've seen it too. But before she was even born." The girl nodded. "It uses what we forget, fills the gaps." The monitor flashed a new word. "Remember." The air grew cold, like memory was leaking out of the walls. The doctor whispered, "It's not just inside her, is it?" The brother stared blankly. "No. It's looking for somewhere bigger." Something moved outside the exam room window. Fast, then slow. A flicker. Like reflection, but on the wrong side of the glass. The girl looked up. It found a door. The brother stood, walked to the window. There was no one. But the glass was fogged. A small handprint pressed from the outside. The doctor backed away. "That's the third floor." Another handprint, larger. Then another. The glass cracked faintly. The girl walked to the monitor, placed her hand on it. "We shouldn't have left it. It waited too long." The ultrasound screen bloomed red. No color option enabled. But the shape on the screen opened an eye. The doctor screamed. The lights blew out, and the shape in the ultrasound blinked. The doctor tried to reboot the system, but the monitor wouldn't turn off. The cord was unplugged, yet the screen glowed, pulsing with that same blurry, moving shape. The girl pointed to her stomach. "It's listening through here now. You can't stop it. Not unless he remembers." She turned to her brother. "Say what you saw in the barn." He hesitated, hands shaking. "I don't know what I saw. It wasn't real. It couldn't be. I was 6. There was no barn. My parents said so." The girl stepped closer. "It used to follow you. It was quiet. Until I was born. Then it moved." She touched his chest. "You let it in. I grew it." The doctor sat in the corner now, mumbling prayers under his breath. One by one, the lights above them dimmed. A red glow formed near the floor. Humming. Breathing. The monitor flickered. A new image appeared. It was a face, not fully formed, like a memory, but the eyes looked directly at the brother. They blinked. He stepped back, gasping. "No, that can't be." He didn't finish. The girl clutched her stomach and whispered, "It remembers you." The ultrasound machine sputtered static, then words. "Let him see." The message repeated again, then faded. But the girl's skin began to glow, faintly, just beneath the surface. The brother reached toward her. His hands shook. But when he touched her arm, the glow moved into him. For a moment, they both stared, like they had switched places. Outside the window, a shadow passed again, but this time it didn't vanish. It stood still, watching, breathing, waiting. The doctor stumbled out of the exam room, gasping for air. He ran down the hallway. But something felt wrong. The corridor stretched longer than it should have. He passed doors that didn't belong, rooms with old wood, dusty curtains, rusted handles. This wasn't the modern clinic anymore. This was something older, forgotten. Like the building had shifted, one door opened on its own. Inside, a chair sat beneath a single light bulb. Nothing else. On the seat, a patient chart, dusty and yellowed, marked Subject 12 returned. The doctor didn't touch it. He turned to leave, but the hallway was gone. Just wall. Seamless. No exit. He backed into the room, breathing faster. Behind him, the chair creaked. He turned. The chart was gone. Now on the chair sat an old photograph, a younger version of himself, holding hands with a girl. He fell to his knees, shaking. He didn't remember this. Couldn't. The girl in the photo. She had the same eyes as the one in his clinic now. The walls pulsed like lungs. Whispers filled the room. You knew. You forgot. Now remember. The light bulb flickered, then shattered. Darkness swallowed the room in a cold hiss. Outside, back in the exam room, the girl stood up slowly. He's not part of this anymore, she said. He's gone where it started. The brother clenched his fists. Why are you talking like this isn't real? She turned to him, gently. Because it isn't. But it's still happening. And then the room around them shifted. Walls bent inward. Lights went black. And a second door appeared, humming quietly, waiting to be opened. The new door was wooden, old, heavy, carved with symbols neither sibling recognized, circles within circles, eyes, and something that looked like a spine, curled into a spiral. The girl touched it first. Her hand trembled, but not from fear, from recognition. She whispered, "It's not new. It's just returned." The brother stepped back. "We're not going in there." The girl didn't move. "You already did," she said softly. "Years ago. You just don't remember what it took from you." The door opened inward, creaking with a long groan. Inside, darkness, thick and warm, like stepping into a heartbeat. A hallway stretched beyond, pulsing with faint red light. They walked in together. The air changed behind them, no longer sterile. Now it smelled like soil, like burnt paper, like breath. Walls flickered with shadows. Shapes moved beside them. Whispered syllables formed around their steps. A voice called, faintly, "Brother, brother, brother." He paused, looked to his sister. "Did you hear that?" She nodded. "It doesn't speak to me, just you, because it started with you." At the hallway's end, another room. Inside, an old hospital. Bed, covered in vines. On it, a recording device, still blinking red. Still recording. The girl stepped forward. "This is where she died. The first one." He asked, "Who?" She looked at him, tears in her eyes. "Our sister." The name hit like ice. He staggered back. "What are you talking about? We don't have a sister." She nodded. "You forgot her. But it didn't. And I remember everything." The recording clicked. Static filled the room. Then a girl's voice, soft and scared. "It's still inside me. Don't let them cut it out again. Please." He dropped to his knees. Images flashed in his mind. A third plate at the dinner table. A laugh in the hallway. A hospital visit. A name he couldn't quite say. The girl touched his shoulder. She was like me, but worse. It tried to grow in her, but they couldn't contain it. The monitor in the room turned on. No plug, no source. It showed a medical chart. Age 10, female, status, uncontained, cause of death, unknown entity extraction failure. His heart raced. He backed away from the bed. The vines pulsed. The recording kept repeating the same line. "It's still inside me." The girl whispered, "She was the beginning. I'm just the continuation. But it still wants you. Always did." A second voice entered the recording. A man's. "We're losing her. The readings are unstable. Shut it down." The monitor exploded in sparks. Smoke filled the air. The girl's eyes rolled back. "She's coming through," she whispered. And behind them, the door slammed shut. The room changed shape. Corners twisted. Bed melted into vines. The walls pulsed, and the air became thick, like breathing through water. The girl collapsed to the floor, trembling, not from fear, from overload. The energy inside her flickered, then flared. She screamed without sound. The brother ran to her, but a shadow separated them. It rose from the floor, long and narrow, flickering between human and something else. It spoke with no mouth. "You forgot." "She didn't. That's why she carried it." "But it belongs to you." The girl reached out. "Don't listen to it. Memory is not truth. It lies in patterns." The walls cracked. From them leaked photos, images of the sister. Birthday hats, hospital gowns. Her face in each, blurred like it didn't want to be seen. The shadow pressed a hand to the boy's chest. He gasped. A searing pain behind his ribs, like something being pulled. Or returned. He fell beside his sister. Both glowed now. The floor beneath them cracked, and roots burst upward. They held each other tightly. "Remember me," she whispered, "even if you forget everything else." And in that moment, their bodies lifted slightly off the floor, cradled by something invisible and ancient. Upstairs, alarms blared. Nurses ran. Rooms flashed with emergency lights. But no one could find the siblings. Their exam room was gone, replaced by a blank wall. A janitor pointed at the wall. "It wasn't always there. That was a hallway." But the wall was solid, cold, permanent. The power surged. One nurse screamed as monitors across the building displayed the same image. An ultrasound. But not a baby. A shape. In the break room, someone found a photograph. 2 children. A boy and girl. Smiling. But both were transparent. Their bodies, not fully real, not fully gone. The doctor reappeared, but older. Hair gray. Eyes empty. He walked to the wall, placed his hand on it, whispered, "She's still in there." The fire alarm triggered. but no smoke, just light pouring through cracks in the floorboards. Faint whispering echoed from vents. The staff evacuated, but not all left. A few stood frozen, listening. Some heard music, others heard names. One man collapsed. He clutched his head, crying. I remember her. I was there when she died. I held her hand. His name wasn't on staff records. His ID badge faded mid-sentence. He was never found again. And that night, the clinic stayed empty, but all its monitors glowed red. Below, in the hidden room, time slowed. The boy and girl hovered in light. Their memories began to unravel. Backwards. Childhood photos rewound. Conversations reversed. Names disappeared. The shadow spoke again. To heal, one must forget. But forgetting is where I live. The boy shouted, I want to remember. And the light shattered. Everything fell. Back into time. Back into weight. They hit the ground hard, but the room was different now. No vines, no shadow, just silence and old tiles. They stood, holding each other. No monitor, no heartbeat. Just the soft echo of something breathing through the walls. The girl placed her hand to the floor, whispered, We brought it here, but we don't have to carry it anymore. The boy nodded. Then let it sleep. He reached into his pocket, found the photo of their forgotten sister, set it on the ground, whispered her name. This time, fully. The air sighed. The lights dimmed. A new warmth filled the room. And then the door reopened. Back to the hallway. They knew. The hallway looked the same again. Bright. Clinical. But something felt missing. The sound of machines was gone. Even their footsteps made no echo. The girl held tight to his hand. Do you feel it? He nodded. It's like everything is pretending to be real. They passed a nurse who didn't move, just stood, eyes forward, breath steady, like a statue rehearsing life. The elevator blinked open. No sound. Just a soft breeze. Inside, the panel glowed with symbols instead of numbers. The girl pressed a symbol shaped like a spiral. The doors closed without moving, but the room dropped. Weightless, silent. They exited into the main lobby, except it wasn't. Furniture upside down. A piano where the desk once stood. Candles burning in empty coffee cups. No one reacted. People sat in chairs, unmoving, heads slightly tilted. Whispers curled from their lips without voices. It's showing us what it remembers, the girl said. This is its version of our world. The boy stepped forward. Then maybe we can leave, if we pretend to forget again. She shook her head. It won't let go until we finish. What started in the dark? One nurse finally moved, slow, controlled. She stepped into their path, hands open, eyes wide. You made it out, she said, but you're still inside. The girl tilted her head. Do you remember our sister? The nurse nodded. She stayed too long. I heard her scream the day she broke the monitor. The boy asked, Why, didn't anyone say anything? the nurse whispered. Because remembering feeds it, and forgetting makes it sleep. The girl held up the photo. We remembered her. We brought her with us. The nurse began to cry. Then it'll come again. It always does, when memory grows strong. A candle on the piano flared. Its wax burned backward. The flame leaned toward the boy. He stepped back, breath shaking. We're not done yet, are we? The nurse stepped aside. No. Now you meet what stayed behind. They followed the nurse into a wing they'd never seen before. The walls were glass, but no reflections. Just flickers of scenes, bedrooms, hospital rooms, basements. At the end was a door with no knob. The nurse placed her hand on it. It opened inward like breath. Inside was a single chair, a white sheet, and the smell of warm copper. The lights dimmed until the room was lit only by memory. The girl walked forward. This is where she stayed when they stopped believing her. The boy saw his sister again, the one they lost. She was small, hands folded, eyes shut. She looked peaceful. Then her lips moved. You remembered. The sheet fell. No one touched it. The chair was empty now, but the air still held the warmth of someone just missing. The boy dropped to his knees. We didn't mean to forget. The girl placed the photo on the chair. Then help us carry her home, and the light behind them grew, not from above, but from within. They walked back into the warped lobby. But something had changed. The piano played a single note, on repeat, like heartbeat, like warning. The air felt thicker. People who had been statues now hummed quietly. The same note. One continuous vibration. The brother touched a wall. It pulsed beneath his hand. It's waking up, he said. The nurse who led them was gone. Her clipboard lay on the floor, snapped in half. Her ID card flickered like a dying bulb. The spiral symbol returned, not on doors, but on the floor, glowing faintly, leading them toward the stairwell. They descended into darkness, one step at a time. The stairs felt soft, organic, like walking on something alive. The girl whispered, "Don't stop, no matter what you hear." Halfway down, voices began, laughing, crying, calling their names, too familiar, too close. The boy shut his eyes, said her name. The noise stopped, and at the bottom, a black door, breathing, waiting. The door opened before they touched it. Beyond was light, pure, colorless. A room of fog and echo. In the center was a figure. No face, no shape, just density. Like the memory of a person never born. It pulsed. Once, twice. Then words. You returned. You brought it back. The boy stepped forward. We remembered her. We didn't mean to, but she deserves to be carried. The figure changed, became three faces, child, mother, sister, all merged, all watching him. The girl stood firm. We brought the photo. We brought the name. That makes it real again. The figure shook. The fog grew darker. Then you will take what was left behind. The brother opened his arms. "We're not afraid." Light surged. Everything white, then black, then quiet. And the spiral beneath their feet began to close. They opened their eyes inside a hallway, half clinic, half forest. Fluorescent lights grew on branches. Roots wrapped around IV poles. The photo was gone. But they could feel her. Warmth between their fingers. A new heartbeat beside their own. They weren't alone. Others stood nearby, people they'd forgotten. Half-formed. The in-between ones. The girl whispered, "This is what memory makes when it's not finished." The boy looked back. The spiral door was gone. Now only wind and fog. One figure stepped forward. It was their sister. Clear this time. Smiling. She said, "Thank you for finding me." They hugged. Three as one. The air shimmered. The roots pulled gently. The light behind them dimmed. Time caught up. The clinic returned. And all three walked through the exit together. At the front desk, a new nurse blinked at the siblings. "You're early. We didn't check you in yet." The girl smiled. "We're ready to go." The nurse printed forms. "Strange. Your names aren't in the system." The boy replied, "We were never really here." Outside, the air felt different, lighter, brighter. The street was quieter, as if the world had waited for them. They held hands. One shadow between them, one memory shared. The girl looked back. The clinic faded behind trees that hadn't been there before. She whispered, "Will it ever come back?" He answered, "Only if we forget her again." And with that, they walked forward, into light. Months later, workers found a sealed door in the clinic's basement. No one remembered building it. They opened it. Inside, a chair, a single candle, and a framed photo of three children. On the wall, someone had written in charcoal, "Remember me." They archived the file under Unidentified Anomaly. Then forgot about it. But at night, janitors swore they heard laughter from the room. A girl's laugh. Soft. Happy. No one removed the photo. They never cleaned the dust. And once a year, a candle appears there, already lit. No one touches it. No one dares. Because everyone remembers what happened, even if they pretend not to. A new intern scanned old archives, digitizing them. One file had no label, no barcode, just a faded folder, sealed with brittle tape and a note. Return when remembered. Inside were photos, medical scans, hand-drawn spirals, a faded picture of a girl in a hospital gown, standing beside two kids, all three with identical eyes. The intern flipped to the back. A post-it note read, "No deletion, no duplicate, for memory only." There was no digital record. No one signed it. He brought it to his supervisor. She froze when she saw the photo. Whispered, "That's the chair girl." The intern asked who that was. She didn't answer. That night, the intern's tablet turned on by itself. Displayed a shape in the center. Not a photo. A scan. Ultrasound. Moving. Watching. He dropped the tablet. It cracked. But the image didn't disappear. It was still there, faint and pulsing beneath the shattered glass. The next morning, the file was gone. His supervisor denied ever seeing it, but she wore a spiral pin on her coat, one he hadn't seen before. In the cafeteria, a nurse hummed a melody, soft, repeating, a song the intern realized he'd heard in his dream, sung by a girl in white. He left early that day. On his desk, a photo of 3 children, same one. This time, it was signed on the back. You were there too. And for the first time, he believed it. Long after retiring, the original doctor who performed the first ultrasound started keeping a journal again. He called it Notes for What Shouldn't Be. He wrote of 3 siblings, a girl who carried memory-like infection, a boy haunted by something he forgot, and a third they were never supposed to remember. One page described the spiral symbol, not ancient, but alive. It grew in places memory lingered too long. It liked hospitals, he said, especially basements. He spoke of events, repeating, same shape, different children. Always one boy, one girl, and a room that didn't exist until they found it. The journal was never published. He mailed it to himself over and over. Return address was always blank. Postmark faded, sometimes unreadable. When he died, the journal vanished. All his mail returned unopened, but his nurse claimed a candle burned at his bedside. All night. No wick, no wax. In the margins of his final page, someone had scribbled, "She's still waiting for the ones who left too soon." The ink was still wet. They buried him in an unmarked grave. On the headstone, a spiral. Chiseled faint. Not in the records. His house was sold. The buyer found one framed photo left behind. 3 kids, all facing away. But their shadows smiled. No one noticed the 4th figure in the reflection behind them. Years passed. The clinic modernized. New technology. New staff. But some things didn't change. The 3rd-floor hallway always felt too long, and the vent system hummed with voices at night. One night, a janitor cleaning room 3C found something beneath the exam table. A candle stub, half burnt, no scent. Just heat that never cooled. He left it on the desk. The next morning, it was standing upright again, wax unburnt. A spiral drawn under it in permanent marker. The hallway lights flickered more often, even after replacement. Techs blamed. Wiring, but their cameras all failed in that corridor. Only that corridor. A new doctor dismissed it all, until his daughter started drawing spirals, on foggy windows, in dust, once carved into a soap bar. She whispered in her sleep. There were 3, but one stayed behind. When he asked her who told her that, she answered, "The one under the stairs." He checked the stairwell the next day. Just pipes and dust. But one pipe was warm to the touch, pulsing faintly like it carried breath. That night, the hospital's FAWIT backup generator turned on by itself. It powered only one thing, the ultrasound room. When he entered, the monitor was already glowing, and on the screen, a new name appeared, one that hadn't been spoken in over a decade. He backed away slowly. Then the screen flickered, and a voice from the speaker whispered, "You forgot her again." Below the clinic, Long-forgotten filing cabinets lined a dusty corridor. Someone found them while chasing a loose cat. Keys still in the locks. Drawers untouched since 1995. Inside, folders marked unassigned patients. Handwritten? No. Dates. Just drawings, ultrasound scans, spiral notations, and 3 identical sets of initials repeated through every decade. The worker tried to lift one file, but it crumbled in her hand. Beneath it, a photo survived. A girl sitting in a chair, hands folded, candlelight behind her. There was no camera in the room she was pictured in, no records of candles being allowed, but the photo showed 3 burning, each flame bent inward. On the back, scribbled in child's handwriting, "She said I could come back when it gets quiet again." No signature. The worker brought it to security. They logged it, shrugged. Next day, it was gone. The file drawer locked itself again. The key nowhere to be found. She never forgot the photo, especially the way the girl's eyes followed, even in the dark, even in her dreams. Years later, her own daughter visited that clinic. Same age, same chair, same room, though no one remembered building it. And when she came home that night, she said only one thing. "The girl in the photo says thank you." And every light in their house dimmed. The clinic tried new equipment, upgraded everything, but one ultrasound machine never got replaced, room 3B. Anytime they moved it, power across the floor would fail. A tech finally ran a diagnostic, left the machine on overnight. But when he reviewed the footage, the screen had never turned off. It displayed the same loop for hours. Each loop, a flicker, then a shape, a pulse, then static. It happened every 13 seconds, exactly. Every time. For hours. He printed one frame, just one, showed it to his supervisor. They froze. "This matches an image from the incident. I wasn't supposed to see this again." When asked what incident, they simply walked away. Never returned to work. Resigned by email. Later that week, the printout vanished. But the machine kept looping, even after being unplugged. Eventually, they closed the room, labeled it for storage. But no one ever used it. No one wanted to open the door again. One cleaner peeked inside during rounds, said she saw a candle glowing on the monitor, flickering as if real. And once, when walking by, a visitor swore he heard a girl whisper, "We're still here." And the next day, the hallway was 10 feet longer. A letter arrived at the clinic. No return address. Postmark smudged. Inside, a photo of 3 children. One folded corner. And a note. "I remembered. You should, too." No one knew who sent it, but when placed near the old candle stub, both pulsed faintly, synced like breath held in a memory. The director asked to have them archived, but the archivist refused. "Some things shouldn't be filed. They're meant to fade. That's the only way they stay asleep." The director agreed. But late that night, he returned, opened the drawer, found the photo missing, only a spiral drawn where it once lay. The spiral glowed in moonlight, and when touched, it whispered, "She never left. You just stopped believing in her." That night, The director's security footage went blank. Only in his office. Only from 3:03 to 3:13 a.m. When he watched it back, there was static. Then a heartbeat. Then 3 whispered names, all voices of children. He left the clinic the next day, moved across the country, never spoke about it again. But his daughter once drew a spiral in chalk, said it came to her in a dream. A girl gave it to her, and behind her, a candle flickered, with no flame. Years passed. The clinic was finally scheduled for demolition. Too old. Too many stories. Staff relocated. Files erased. But one room refused to unlock, no matter what. Room 3C. The spiral door. They broke through with tools. Inside, a single chair, untouched by time. On it sat a faded photograph of 3 children. On the back, one remembered, one forgot, one stayed. They cleared the building, but no matter how many times they emptied it, the chair always returned. Same spot, same photo, no dust. One contractor refused to enter again, said he saw a girl blink at him. No one else was inside. The demo team lit charges. The building fell. But days later, in the rubble, someone found a spiral carved into concrete, and beside it, the chair, upright, clean, waiting. Locals started, calling it the remembering place. No one built on the land again. Nothing stayed rooted. But the wind still whispered the names. Sometimes at night, a candle appears there. No wax, no holder, just light hovering above the dirt. And if you sit in the chair long enough, you'll remember her too. Across the country, a girl began drawing spirals in crayon, on walls, on windows, on her school desk. Always the same shape. Always starting with her left hand. Her teacher asked why. She said, "They make the voice stay quiet. If I stop, it gets loud again." One night, her mother found her sleepwalking. In the hallway, she spoke in whispers, "We're almost back. We're almost all here." The parents brought her to a pediatrician. During the ultrasound, static filled the screen. No one had requested an ultrasound. The machine wasn't even plugged in. The image showed a shape, moving. Then letters appeared. 3rd returned. 1 remains. The technician fainted. The screen blinked off. When it came back, only the girl's name remained. Spelled wrong, but phonetically identical to the one in the old clinic files. She looked at her mother and whispered, "I'm not her. I just carry what she couldn't." That night, the family's lights blinked in a pattern. Every 13 seconds. The power company couldn't explain it. And outside her bedroom window, a candle floated, burning low, casting a shadow that didn't belong to anything in the room. The girl watched it flicker and said softly, "She's coming back through me." The hospital archivist had worked 23 years, never believed in ghosts, never kept a single file that wasn't verified, until the spiral started showing up on patient forms. He dismissed it until one night he dreamed of 3 children holding candles. They stood in the record room saying nothing, just humming. He woke up with a note in his hand. "Return what you archived. She's still waiting. The handwriting matched a file burned in the 90s, one that shouldn't exist anymore. He searched for weeks, finally found a box that didn't belong, tucked behind the furnace. Inside, a chair schematic, and one more photo. The image. Same. Girl. Same eyes, same spiral carved into the floor. But this time, she was smiling, holding the hand of someone just out of frame. He scanned the photo. The scanner glitched, froze, then displayed only one word: awake. That night, he heard knocking from behind the record room wall. Soft, rhythmic, like someone inside tapping for help. He opened the door the next morning, found nothing except a spiral drawn in ash on the floor, and one flickering flame hovering just above it. Hospitals changed names, records were purged, but echoes don't delete. They live in tiles, vents, circuits. They hum in places that forget too often. One new nurse heard that hum. She followed it to a broom closet. Inside, 3 empty chairs. One had a spiral burned into the seat. She touched it, heard a girl say, "You're early." Later, she checked the hospital's archive. No record of that room. She asked security. They laughed. "There's no broom closet on that floor." She went back, found only wall, smooth, white, like it was never there. But in her pocket, a slip of paper. Third one still listens. She kept it, never told anyone. Years later, when her own child drew spirals, she wasn't surprised. Just lit a candle and whispered, "Tell her I remember." From then on, every birthday candle burned longer. Every whisper felt closer. The spiral showed up in fog, in frost, in dreams. The child once asked, "Was I someone else before this?" She answered, "You were someone's echo." And the flame on the nightstand swayed in approval. Decades later, one last machine remained in storage, marked for disposal, old, dusty, tagged as defective, flickers in sleep mode. An engineer powered it up, just for testing. Screen came alive instantly, no boot time. It showed an image, not static, a clear spiral, moving slowly. Then a face, the same girl. No aging, no change, just clarity, as if she was waiting behind glass. He unplugged the machine, but the screen stayed lit. Only one word remained: return. That night, the engineer dreamed of 3 chairs in a candlelit room. He sat in the middle one. The girl sat across from him. She asked one question: "If we vanish quietly, did we really leave?" He didn't answer. Couldn't. He woke crying, the hospital ID still clipped to his chest. But the name was spelled wrong. Wrong, but familiar. He never returned to work. But every year on the same day, he lit 3 candles on his windowsill. One always flickered sideways. And in the EBE glass, 3 shadows would lean in, watching, waiting, never leaving. On a forgotten hillside where the clinic once stood, grass refused to grow, yet every night a flame appeared. No source, just hovering, always at the same height. Locals called it the remembering light. Children warned each other, If you stare too long, you'll dream of her. Not scary, just lonely. One boy did stare, said he saw a spiral grow in the flame, then faces, then hands reaching gently outward. He returned home different, not scared, just quiet, drew spirals in his notebook, whispered a name no one taught him. His mother found a candle beside his bed. It hadn't been lit, but the wax melted slowly, inward, toward the center. One note lay under it. Thank you for remembering us. Now, every March 12th, someone lights a candle at the hill. No one admits it. No one takes credit. But the flame always waits. Sometimes, people leave 3 chairs in a row. By morning, one is always slightly turned, as if someone had just stood up. And in the silence that follows, you'll hear it. If you listen close, 3 heartbeats, 1 breath, and the memory of a name you never knew you forgot.